Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerding Grounds podcast. This is a weekly show where we talk about video games and sometimes news and sometimes video game news.
It's a showcast.
I'm Quinn, and I'm joined here by Matt. We are the two halves of this here podcast.
We are.
And together we make one half. The other half is you.
Yeah,
Nice.
the viewers. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's sweet.
Yeah, some would say that technically makes us quarters. And to that, I say it's not your podcast. So record your own, and you can call yourself whatever percentage you want.
That's true. We're going to be hands.
Yes. So there's a certain game that I have not been able to put down. But before I get into all that, did you watch their PlayStation showcase?
Yeah,
for
mostly
summer
trash.
of 2023? All right.
Cat games, right? Like what? There's like
I'm
three.
sorry. Do you have a problem with cat games?
No, not at all. Obviously, right? But
If you think Quinn isn't going to be playing Cat Quest,
oh yeah, no,
Pirates of the Caribbean,
you're literally a pirate cat. I know you're going to be playing that game. It's like it was meant for you.
I think it was meant for me.
Just maybe not me. I don't know.
Well, so yeah, there was some stuff I was a little unimpressed by. Like, I'm kind of just scrolling through the video here in order. But the first one, I actually don't know what that first game was. It was like some like heist thing, fair game. I don't know. I have no opinions on that. I don't really care.
I would assume that's going to be some PvE heist game type of thing going on.
Yeah, or Extraction maybe, since that's like one of the new shooters styles is Extraction shooters.
Right. I mean, it could be interesting if we're thinking like a heist sort of setup.
Especially after
like
that
Payday-esque
yeah.
thing going on with some PvP elements, maybe.
Well, I wonder how that would go after that bombing out that was Crime City or whatever, or Rockhay City. That was seemingly one of the worst. It came and went so fast. I think that's how bad it was.
There's
Kinda
been
like,
a lot of that, I think, right? Because
kind of like what's happening with this Gollum game.
yeah. That's like one of those things. It's like they say they're coming out with a Gollum game, and you're like, okay, why? Like, who asked for this? Why would you make, like, of all the Lord of the Rings shit you could do, you pick Gollum? Because like, you're going to be a sneak game, I guess.
Yeah,
and then
I guess it could. I see that as more of a level they would have put in a game in like the PlayStation 2 era.
Yeah,
it's like, here's the Gollum section.
And not to mention, it turns out it's pretty just bad in general and doesn't really look very good.
It even got one of those developer PDFs on Twitter. The little message like, "We are so sorry, that we made a mediocre game." It's like, I don't think you have to apologize for everything.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I can really see how the devs themselves might have felt a little uninspired by the whole thing, right?
I was looking at the game and I was just like, I don't think anybody had fun making this.
Yeah, why would they?
Which is a bummer, because it's just like nothing worse than just a studio mandated cash grab.
Yeah, really. Especially it's them trying to get and hold on to a piece of that sweet Lord of the Rings franchise, right?
That WB license.
Yeah, they wanted that, and they wind up just getting Gollum.
Just
horrible.
They
could have gone with like a Hobbit city builder, and I would have been more interested.
Actually, that'd be cool. Shire City.
Yeah, Shire City.
Shire Tropico.
You heard it here, folks. That's the game that people want to play.
Here's how you hold on a license: remake Two Towers and Return of the King. Just Seriously. Remake them. I don't even care. I still believe in couch co-op. I think it's still viable. Um, those games are great.
Those games work great.
Could you imagine them being done in like a modern engine with, you know, pretty good controls? Kind of like a beat 'em up, but whatever.
Basically,
Um,
you could modernize the game just a tad bit. It'd be fun.
yeah. Anyway, back to the showcase. We had Helldivers 2, which I played like an hour of Helldivers 1. It was a top-down sort of strategy thing, and now it looks like a full third-person. Um,
Is that like? Was that the game that kind of looked like Starship Troopers? I can't look it up.
yeah, with the weird,
Yeah,
funny opening.
yeah. That was cool
um,
though. It looked fun. It looked like
it
a game that
looks
would
really
be
cool.
fun, right?
I
Like
was
a
just really impressed by all the like airstrike visuals and everything that they were calling in to. It's like a bro space military shooter,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it looked like they put a lot into the combat or the
It's like a like EDF, right? But
like
a,
EDF. Yeah, exactly.
a
But maybe a little
pro
more
shooter.
polished.
Yeah, a lot
Maybe
more
taking
fun.
itself a little more seriously, but not.
But yeah, I mean EDF was like I don't know a very very fortunate accident from a shitty budget game that just
EDF's the type of rare game where you have to make it bad for it to even work.
yeah.
If it's not inherently like a poor put together game, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah, no, like I don't know if you remember, a different studio made like the second one, and it was
Yeah,
garbage because they took it seriously. They tried to make like a good game out of it, and it was really bad.
I
Um,
remember.
so so then they brought back the original studio made the the next installments. Yeah, and they like did things like forcefully made the frame rates drop when too much shit was going on the
That's the
screen and
good shit
stuff.
right there.
Yeah, right. Like that's
And you're
what we
like,
want.
I
I
don't
want
know.
my frames to drop to 0 when I'm blowing up a shit ton of amps, or I'm not playing.
I have no idea whether the spider I was shooting has opened me up and planted babies inside of my stomach.
I would assume that's just what happened, right? But who really knows? Because you have so much white web just everywhere, all over you.
Excuse me?
Yeah. The tarantula looking things just just fucking just explode all over you.
Yeah, yeah. Canonically speaking.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Immortals of Avium, which kind of looked like a mix of that um, Ghostwire Tokyo game and that what is why can't I think of the fantasy game that came out like this year that was mediocre and everybody kind of with the talking cuff. Oh my god.
Uh
Oh my god.
yeah, that's another game that I'm like,
What is wrong with me? Forspoken. Jesus. Yeah. It's kind of like a mix between Forspoken and that Ghostwire Tokyo game with your like flashy wizard spells with your hands and stuff.
yeah.
With
I,
maybe a little Doom in there.
yeah, kind of. Seems like it's I don't know. It's probably a game I'd have to play to really give any sort of opinion to it whatsoever. It is definitely one of those like odd choice because
Hmm.
that whole style of game is pretty dead, right?
Well, it seemed a little
And
more single player narrative than I expected, I think, from the
yeah,
trailer. Before, I really did expect it to just be like
I mean it's not
maybe
dead,
a
right?
Borderlands or a.
There's obviously some pretty good examples of that type of game working very well. It's just it needs a lot of some definite substance to be decent. But I mean they're normally fun, right?
Yeah, but that combat has to be engaging for
Comment does
the
have to be
40 or so hours that I'm imagining this story would run for.
right, and especially since I mean hopefully it's something more of like a BioShock kind of experience, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Then it's good. And if it's
yeah.
not that, then it's probably just it's what? It's a Call of Duty campaign
Yeah. So
with
yeah,
no like no
that'll kind of
multiplayer.
that'll live and die by its combat because I don't know the story is going to be super engaging, but we'll see. And then we had Ghost Runner 2, which I played the first Ghost Runner and found it really difficult and irritating. Like, not difficult in a good way to me, but I recognized that that game was pretty cool. But it's definitely one of those you have to perfect your run and you can't get hit, or if you can get hit, it's like once or twice. Um, and so it's a lot of like on the fly improvising with your ninja skills or whatever. But this time you have a motorcycle, so I don't know.
Yeah, and they seemed they really showcase a lot of the cheesy motorcycle sort of things going on. But yeah, I didn't even really know what the first one was about. Right? It looked cool.
Sci-fi ninja stuff, you know.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of like you can't get hit. I guess right?
I
Is that
don't.
it's
That's how I remember it, and it was early on. So maybe you unlock a skill or something where you can take a hit, but it's kind of like Katana Zero, where. But I really liked Katana Zero because it was more puzzle solvy than it was like first person action where you're
Yeah.
jumping around as like Genji.
So this is just got to go fast, kind of
No time for
Ninja Sonic.
yeah. There's no like there's no fights. You have to basically kill everything is the second you see it.
It could be fun, right? It
It
seems
could.
like one of those games. Like once you start to get the hang of it, do cool shit, and really just like fly through a level. Rewarding, I
Hmm.
suppose. I clearly people liked it, right? Because they made a second one, so it must have been a commercial success. But hey,
Well, yeah, and that first one I believe was like $15 to $20, so it wasn't like it was a huge game. So I think the barrier to entry is pretty low. The one I really am super intrigued by was Phantom Blade Zero. I don't know if you saw that
was
one.
that the? I mean, I watched the whole thing. It was just like literally the day of that it came out after we recorded the last week's
I know
podcast.
it was really
Um,
unlucky.
So I was like, you might know, yeah, let me go ahead and just watch this whole thing. Phantom Blade Zero, was that the
It's like the Chinese martial arts, sword
yeah.
fighting game.
Okay,
That
yeah. Like another one of those that I'm just like, I can't I just don't like when of those games come out, you know? Like they're always coming out, they're never out.
yeah. Well, and this one had me like, how much of this is really in-game engine? Because the way when he gets into like your group fights and the way the camera follows you, it's very cinematic and dynamic, but in
It
real
is.
time. And I'm like, I have to get my hands on that to
Yeah.
understand how that
Or to
works.
see how, yeah, like it actually works, right? It's like, can it work like that in an optimal setting, right?
To where
With
it
an
feels
optimal,
good to play. Yeah.
yeah, on the best computer, right?
Yeah.
For, whatever that it was developed on, basically. Yeah, I'm sure you could pull stuff off like that and have it feel organic and fun to play. But on just anything, right? Or I guess on PlayStation. It is on PlayStation, so maybe we'll see.
Yeah. But like, yeah, they got like your moments where he's running on walls and bouncing off of rocks, and then he gets it, and the camera just kind of stays super trained the whole time, which seems impossible, but I don't know. And it's like, do you remember Asura's Wrath? How that game was all spectacle, and so they
Yeah,
couldn't really do it. And that's the only thing I'm worried about, and not to that level because you could do a lot more these days. And Asura's Wrath would probably be a totally different game in this day and age.
yeah,
But I
exactly.
don't want it to lean too heavily on scripted animations.
Um,
You know,
yeah, I don't know. I really just have to see more because I never even heard of the game, and then
no,
now
not at all.
it looks like something that's getting close to being finished, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and it does look like that.
I
Maybe
don't know what studio.
like they're.
That's got to be like a Chinese or Korean studio doing that, right?
I think it's a Chinese studio, I believe.
Yeah.
I think I read that after the fact. because I saw a lot of the martial arts were very Chinese inspired.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely, right.
but I'm interested in that.
Which I'm all for it, because I mean, again, it's like we got like Wolong, and then we got what was that old game that I could think about if I could open up a Steam right now. It
Chinese
was
martial arts?
yeah, Chinese martial arts, Jade Empire. Yeah.
Oh
That's like
yeah,
the only two games I can think of that really go into like Chinese martial arts, right?
yeah. Jade Empire. That came. Was that
The game
Bioware
was
that came out like right after KOTOR?
yeah, basically it was like the Chinese martial arts influenced KOTOR is what that game
That
was. It
game
was
was
awesome.
cool. That was a
Yeah.
good game. Yeah. I think I played that during Katrina.
I know that there's more out there, folks, right? Like I get it, but that's all I could think of.
I mean,
So we could use more.
yeah, we could definitely use more, honestly. So I'm excited for that. Then they had Sword of the Sea, which is like your journey, Absu, those chill, pretty games, and it looks cool. Like you're literally surfing on a sword in like a water desert.
Yeah, I mean it's literally it's the same. It's whatever the sand drifter game that might be called Drifter. I don't know.
Giant Squid Studios,
Yeah,
but you know,
Journey,
yeah, Journey
Journey. It's
and the
a journey with a
Pathless.
sword. Yeah.
Yep, Journey with a sword.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Right, that game was quite pretty, quite beautiful.
I it was another one where I'm like, I want proof that these are the in-game visuals because this surfing on the sand that looks like water looks sick, and I want to do that.
And probably so, right? Like go look at Journey. And some of
Hmm.
the I guess the
That was like
visual.
PlayStation 3, and it looked incredible.
Yeah,
Um, Talos Principle 2. I never played Talos Principle, so I imagine this is like a
it's like cult classic, I think, right? Like
it's like a
people that
puzzle
really,
logic puzzle solving game.
yeah, like the like those old school first person logic puzzle solving games that
Hmm.
some people really really like, and I think that is supposed to be like the pinnacle of those style of games for some people. Um,
Interesting.
I think that's definitely something that really it probably excited a good amount of people. But yeah, I never really played it. Right?
'Cause that seems like one of those early Steam, like when Steam was really exploding. I felt like Talos Principle was a big
Probably.
deal.
I just
But
remember playing like on like Windows 98, right? Something like a similar type of game, and me being a child, not really knowing what the hell to do, so
oh
completely
yeah,
turned me off from the genre as a whole.
I want to play that one
I have
that's
to remember what that
like a
was.
send up of the genre. I can't remember what it's called. Um,
What do you mean we did this? It's like I don't know. The first person puzzle game. I don't know what genre that we would
I'd say
call that.
logic puzzle adventure.
Yeah.
Um, and then they showed Neva, which is the same developer that made Gree, which is a super stylistic side-scrolling game. And I think this one would be a side-scroller, but also they killed the dog, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm down with that. They killed the
It's
dog in the
pretty
trailer, and it
that's
was like a
bold
big.
choice, really.
It was a big white wolf with antler like tree antlers, and no,
Yeah.
not a good first impression.
No. Unless you like being depressed.
Unless you like being depressed. And if you don't like being depressed, there's Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, so there's that one.
Which, if it was anything else, I'd probably be like, this looks kind of mobile game-ish, but I don't know. Apparently the first one was good, and I never played it. But color me intrigued. Mm. What about Foam Stars?
Yeah,
This
I looked at that. I was like, really, PlayStation? Are we still doing stuff like this? Are we still trying to fucking take
Steal
what Nintendo
Splatoon.
has? Yeah, like, because that's totally worked for you in the past, right? Like,
Right?
what?
They
When
even
have you?
kept they even kept the word stars
Yeah, well,
instead of all stars.
what the f, right? Like, what? Are you kidding me with that one?
Yeah, it looks like a J-pop phone party shooter, and I think that's exactly what it is. And
And this is and it's like a
uh,
direct rip off of like Squid
It's Splatoon, yeah.
Splatoon. Yeah, the Squid Game, Squiddies.
Except I don't know that this one will maybe
No.
this one won't survive Rule 34 as much as
What
Splatoon
if
will.
people are gonna be like, "Oh no, I don't have a Switch. I really want to switch for Splatoon. Let me just go play this phone game on PlayStation that I have, right?" Because that's how that works.
Probably, I guess, but yeah, I don't have faith when they make things like this, but who knows? You know, if this released for free, I could see something working. Like if it was like a what was it, Fall Guys or something, where you could just pop in, check it out, see if it's fun. But in the last 2 years, there have been quite a few of these multiplayer versus games that have not done well. They had like the car one and dodgeball one,
Yeah.
and but I don't know that that wasn't specifically Sony either.
No. Um. I don't know. People are, of course, studios developers are always trying to just come up with the next best thing, but I
Yeah.
thought we were kind of past the days of directly copying off of people, trying to make our own, like.
What? We're in late stage capitalism. What do you mean? That's
You're right.
all we're gonna see from now
You're
on.
right. Now it's just like straight up. I mean, what else can be done, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
only so many Fortnites we can have in the world, and
And I'm not gonna
and
play
and
any of them, and that's okay.
no one cares about MOBAs anymore, and
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah.
fighting games are looking pretty lit.
Fighting games are looking pretty lit.
I mean, we got Street Fighter 6 coming out tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
Yeah,
forgot that was tomorrow. They showed off some stuff in here for that, right?
I think they did. Probably. I did play the open beta for a little bit. That was pretty fun, actually. Pretty
Yeah,
pretty.
we saw Street Fighter and Grand Blue Fantasy.
Oh yeah. So,
Oh wait, sorry, that's not a fighting game. That's a JRPG.
well, this is why you think it's a fighting game, because Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is a
Yeah.
fighting game, and actually is a very good fighting game. That I thoroughly enjoyed. It has a lot of like Street Fighter Alpha sort of feels to it, I think.
Well, and the animations are incredible in those games.
Yeah, they are really good. And so Grand Blue Fantasy, as far as I know, is kind of like a gotcha game from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh that has been around for forever. But I definitely like the universe and the characters, so I'm all for seeing different avenues for that game, right? Because I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
enjoyed Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. So this
Nice.
seems like I don't know what's going on there, but some sort of like MMO sort of thing. It's
Maybe
got to
they're
be, but it
trying
has
to.
like the characters. So maybe a Monster Hunter-esque thing.
Are they
I
trying
don't
to
know.
compete with? I cannot think of the games I want to think of today. Uh, what's the
Whoops, dropping stuff.
what's the Breath of the Wild clone slash RPG that they created that you played with all the characters?
I don't know. I've played a lot of stuff.
Kind of like has that gotcha system where you can unlock different characters, but
Oh,
it's Breath of the Wild.
Genshin Impact
Genshin Impact. Kind of
could
like,
be.
is it maybe trying to compete with that? Like I thought,
That could be what's
Honkai
going
Star
on.
Rail.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, Okay, so there's Honkai Third Impact, then there's Star Rail, and
Oh
then
my
there's
god.
Genshin. Star Rail is like the newest one, right? And that's
Yeah.
like same shit, but it's it's like a it's like an old school RPG actually, which seemed
Oh,
like a
okay.
bold choice for sure, but
I like that.
uh seems about as fun as Genshin Impact is,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
definitely has its moments. Really good writing, really good story moments, like when everything kind of comes to a head in a particular area, it's actually like exceptionally good, I feel like.
Hmm.
But I digress. Who knows? We'll
That's
see.
all we do.
It's actually, I mean, now that you say it, right, that is a distinct possibility because that would make sense because the original one is definitely a gotcha game. I think it's more like one of those uh okay, what do you like the
Free to play?
mm, no, what's the a lot of the mobile like battle games like that you gotcha battle games where your characters just, I guess it's similar to like an old school RPG-esque thing, but the characters
Oh,
literally just
yeah.
auto battle everything, like Arena and
Oh, I mean, it might just be an auto battler.
the
Honestly, I've heard that
Summoner or
I've
whatever
heard
the
that
fuck.
term
Yeah,
before. Yeah. And
I
yeah.
I'll really have to look it up now because I really don't know. But if I had to guess, that's what
Oh, wait, are you talking about like the
Bam.
newer ones? Like
Yeah, basically, I think that's what
Vampire Survivor?
we can look this up right now. I have no idea. Grand Blue Fantasy.
This is what you come here for.
Yep, us sitting there googling stuff. This is going to take a lot of work. I really am curious about that one though, and I would. It would be awesome if it wasn't a gotcha game because
Yeah.
these are some pretty good franchises that just get really bogged down by gotcha. Unfortunately.
I know. Because I think, yeah, they just throw so much at you and
That's
then
why it's like, hey, it's like, look, they literally made something that wasn't gotcha. They made a fighting game of all things, and it was great.
yeah, so
And it was really popular for I mean, unfortunately, fighting games I think shine bright and then fizzle out.
but you're right.
But
This does Grand Blue does have maybe some Monster Hunter going on there.
it's something, right? Like something like that. It's either like an MMO, it's something like Genshin. That would make the most sense, to be honest. Um,
Oh, and I forgot, like, the most striking thing I found in this trailer was it had that, like, 3D animation thing going on, and or was it this one? Or was it a different one that I'm thinking of? No, I think that was, or is that Tower of Fantasy? I was thinking of Tower of Fantasy. Sorry. Grand Blue looks
uh,
good, but Tower of Fantasy had that weird, like, remember when anime started jumping to 3D and it was
yeah,
very like jarring? This just looks like that in motion, and that's another example of like, is this in-game engine? Because some parts look like scripted cutscenes and other parts look like you're actually in the in-game
yeah,
engine, and it looks crazy.
it does. I think Genshin's kind of like that, to be honest. I don't know. Tower of Fantasy's been out though. That's like one of the
That one's already out.
competitors. Yeah, to
Oh,
Genshin. Yeah, that came out like
okay.
a little bit, a little while ago. It was them trying to compete with Genshin Impact. I
It
have no
looks
idea how it
nice.
is. Yeah.
It's a terrible name. It's the worst
Oh yeah.
name for a video game I've ever heard.
Most of them are absolute shit, right? Names wise, but I'm sure they sound cooler in Korean than Chinese, whatever they are.
Right? Translates to like fist of machine gun or
Yeah.
something. It does. All right. So Metal Gear Solid 3 is getting a remake. Um, Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid Delta.
Did we talk about that on the podcast? I don't think we did.
I think that preview had popped up toward the end, and I was like, "Oh, they're making Metal Gear Solid 3," and we briefly addressed it, but
Yeah,
then
same
I
thing.
actually
Like
watched the. the trailer and read some stuff.
I feel like really, really Konami, like you can't do anything else, right? You have to try to
Dang
ride
it.
off the coattails of a man that you apparently just basically refused to let go from your studio.
Well, I read something that kind of was interesting in that, you know, Kojima's thoughts on it was like he wanted to get away from it too, and that's why it went so poorly. So like I
Yeah.
don't know that I ever saw him involved with another Metal Gear anyway, and that kind of feels a little better than just saying like, oh, the series is dead because he's gone. But I don't know. They kind of only seem interested in remaking their games at
Right.
this point. So
I mean, I
I don't
guess it's
know.
already made, right? It's just seems
I
weird.
don't know. I mean, this was a whole CG trailer that showed zero gameplay. So
Yeah.
who knows what it's going to look. I imagine it's going to be pretty, and I imagine apparently the voice actors are all returning. The story is staying the same.
As it should.
Yeah, I just
Because no one don't do it. That's like the
just yeah,
biggest cannon of worms that you could ever open up is trying, even attempting to do
yeah.
something Kojima-esque, right? Because it is nonsensical, but it's wonderful.
It is, and it's also a really heartbreaking story.
Yeah, that one's in 3.
But if you're taking that espionage angle, it's an interesting thing to play around with. But I don't. I see them just remaking it, and maybe the Silent Hill 2 thing will show us a little bit more what their goal is with their IPs. Because
Right.
but also Silent Hill is being worked on by Bloober Team, which a lot of people have some issues with from their other games. So we'll see. Um, I would
We will
play
see.
it, I guess. And they are releasing the old games on modern consoles, which is
I
something
saw
that
that.
we talked about.
I'll have to own yet like a third and fourth copy of some of those games.
I
Right?
will say though, and I want to know if there's something holding up Twin Snakes. Is that a Nintendo issue still? Like to this day, I feel like it
It's Nintendo.
can't be.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it
guess it
is,
could be.
right? Uh
Yeah.
I mean, they're the only people that don't really that probably won't give any wiggle whatsoever. Like anything on Nintendo is never on anything else. Never
Yeah,
will
it's
be.
just that
Like even
PlayStation version just.
PlayStation is certainly caving in a lot of situations now,
Mhm.
right? It may be like way later on, but we get some PlayStation only exclusives on PC, like the new Ratchet and Clank. So can't wait for that. But
That game's
you know,
really good.
I know that's awesome that they're bringing that to PC. I'm pretty
That is
excited about
that's
that.
very
But
cool. Yeah, it's
uh,
impressive too.
it brought
Yeah,
Horizon Zero Dawn and all that good stuff.
yeah, yeah.
That's also come to PC. There's other stuff that I can't think of right now, but no. But Nintendo, no, never, never.
Crazy.
But yeah, I'm
Because I'm
surprised they don't. Yeah, I'm surprised like they can't. They don't. I don't know how licensing works. It does seem weird to me that they can't just bring
well,
that particular
I know a
version.
lot of people prefer the PlayStation version, but I'm sorry. I
I like them
in
both. They're almost like two separate games at that point, you know?
Yeah, but in 2023, I like I have a hard time with some of the early 3D stuff these days.
Yeah, I mean it's been a while since I played it, but I basically if there's any game that I like ever speed run, it is that game, right?
Yeah, it's fun for that. But I mean, if you're really wanting to get into an immersive Metal Gear Solid experience, that's not typically the one I go back to. It's like 2 and 3 that I go
Right.
back to. And why isn't 4 on here? Are they really holding out for like a 4 and 5? Because it says volume 1. My guess is they're doing 4 and 5, like
Yeah, I
definitively.
guess they're doing 4 and 5, right? I would not mind playing 4 again, right?
I
'Cause
would love to.
that's the only Metal Gear to date that I've only played, like, once. So, I really need to,
I think
actually.
I went through it twice
Well, then 5, so
altogether. Yeah, but that game is great, and it's only been available through, like, digital services on PlayStation since, so that's really
yeah.
annoying.
Yeah, more avenues. Did they say what they're launching it on?
I think it's PS5 exclusive, but yeah, it just says coming to PS5 at the
Damn,
end. Doesn't even say Xbox.
poopy. Well, hopefully they come out with some
You'll have one by then,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, 16's right around the corner, and so the pressure is going to be on, you know? I'm like,
Yeah, and
well, yeah, I mean, all right, I'll go get one of these things.
I don't know. So I guess segueing to 16, I don't know that we have anything different to say. We've talked pretty extensively about it. I just kind of get more and more excited for it the more I see it because I don't know. I think there seems to be some hefty work going on in these cutscenes with the dialogue, and
Yeah,
that's pretty exciting.
I was watching. I almost sent it to you. I don't know why I didn't. I was watching. I guess a YouTuber that I respect the opinion of. Our
Is it
streamer
me?
YouTuber. Yeah, it is you. Uh no, someone who got the chance to play the game. Maybe one day we'll get that sort of
Yeah.
experience. Listening to their just opinion of the game and playing it and stuff. It's kind of the
Hmm.
same thing that, of course, I'd be worried about. The fact that like it isn't that original RPG experience, right? You don't
Yeah.
get that,
Yeah.
but the combat does feel good, right? And there's definitely some pretty good options there. In fact, them just kind of like covering all of what you can do, it is pretty nice. Or it
Yeah.
seems pretty nice,
I mean, the
I guess.
spectacle looks off the freaking
Yeah,
chart.
and it is like good story driven, right? Um,
And I'm
I
hoping
I
it's kind
think the
of
only
like,
thing that like really might actually bother me, which is not even bother me, if I have one pre-gripe here, if they
hmm,
just have shitty little side quests they constantly like to put in every goddamn fucking traditional RPG ever, I'm gonna flip my shit. Like that's what they're gonna have. But if
yeah.
we're talking about this like more separated zoned experience, right? Where each zone is doesn't have to um I guess like the amount of shit in one particular zone isn't going to affect like the game as a whole, right? Because
Oh,
as we know, in terms of like performance, right? If we have one big open world, if there's a lot of shit in it, it's like the game's probably going to run like crap.
mm-hmm.
But in this case, we have each individual zones that are kind of like their own biomes and area. I really hope there is a lot of things to explore in those like individual areas, right? And then it would be nice if we could actually have like good side quests, like Witcher 3S side quests going on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh that I mean that's not what we're gonna have, right? We're gonna have shitty little side quests, but
Find the 4 cats.
yeah. And like apparently uh the YouTuber in question was saying that which it's Maximilian Jude. I should probably
Mm.
give props, right? The he was saying that the side quests in the build that they were playing at least were like some of the simplest little fetch quests that he's ever played. I feel
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
kind of just bothered me in this day and age, but
It does because it's really just padding, and
yeah, and
it's
it
a
doesn't it shouldn't be. I
no, and
think
I'd
with
rather just find a chest somewhere and call it a day.
yeah,
Um, I
it's
mean,
kind of
there,
like that's what like 15 had, but I feel like almost more acceptable of that in just a more traditional RPG experience, right?
because 15 had that exploration thing going for it, where
Yeah.
it was a
This
big
isn't.
open world. Final Fantasy VII remake. It's like you wanted to see it because it's Final Fantasy VII, but really it was more narrow zones, and the
Yeah.
quests you got in that were really just they were padding for a lot of it. I mean, some stuff was cool, like some of the side plots you followed. Like I liked. Well, I mean, I guess the Jesse stuff was in the main storyline, but yeah, there were some things that were
Well, like
entertaining.
we were even talking about, give me like a good reason to like go back to a particular zone, right? Give me
Yeah.
a reason to really like master this particular area and do everything that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be done. I mean, yeah, I know there's hunts, right? That's one thing that's always cool, but if it's just do 5 insignificant side quests, 2 hunts, and then move on,
Yeah.
we can do better, right? We can
Yeah.
definitely do better.
I
That's
agree.
going to make an overall better product than you doing this big spectacle with all these summoning battles and stuff like that. Even though that has always been a massive part of Final Fantasy, I think, is those like over the top cutscenes with and
Yeah.
story moments.
And if you can find a really good way to bridge the in-game combat with that, that's even more exciting because we really are getting to some crazy places with that these days, with just bombastic combat and
Yeah.
free flowing into cutscenes. And there seems to be a lot of that here.
Yeah, they're
We saw our first look at Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay, which really looks more to me like a remake of Assassin's
yeah,
Creed 1.
I thought that's what it was, right? And it's like, oh, they're remaking one. I guess that's all right. It's like, oh no, Mirage, what? What is this?
I felt like this looked like maybe it belongs in a different generation. I don't know if I'm just being nitpicky, but from the
Yeah,
animations and just the combat style, I guess it looked like maybe a PS4 era title.
yeah. I don't
And
even know. It's kind of they might have just been like, hey, you know what? You remember when Assassin's Creed was just this? We should do just this. That's what
which,
people want.
part of me is on board with that. I wouldn't mind Assassin's Creed being more of a linear thing. I think it's really gone. I don't know. Like there are people that really love the RPG ones. I
Even
like them for a good like 20 hours, and then I'm like, I physically can't do this anymore. It's I feel like I'm punching numbers in a calculator. I'm so bored, and so I have to move on.
I do like that. I haven't never played them, right?
hmm
Because I don't know. I don't know why. I think I would like that more in a like a multiplayer sort of setting. Obviously, it seems like a
Yeah,
lot of looting for a single player for sure. But
but
then I don't
yeah.
know. I do like gear. I do like numbers. Big
Well,
numbers make my brain go
but
burr.
it was almost like every 5 minutes you had to go into your gear setting menu, and then on top of that, I never felt like the combat was great.
Right.
And you look at something that was based on like Witcher 3, and Witcher 3 doesn't have the best combat at all. But the world and writing are so top tier that you want to find more and look for more. I feel like in Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla, which are the two that I played out of those, that just nothing ever felt fine tuned enough to keep me entertained.
Right.
It was just going into freaking dialogue trees endlessly, and it made me want to die. But yeah,
Well, I guess maybe a return to form, but yeah, I mean, it didn't look that impressive visually, I think.
it looks like a modernized version of the first one, and I don't know,
Yeah.
that could be
Like
fun
that's
to.
that's like it's got to be like a revisioning of
Mm-hmm.
the first game or something, right? That would make the most sense, I think, but they didn't say anything about it.
No, no,
I
just
don't
showed
know.
a bunch of parkouring and kills. Although, that was the one. I gotta say, if I'm pointing to anything in the Assassin's Creed series that I think was the biggest misstep, it was trying to play around with the combat too much. It's like they took something that wasn't that challenging, but essentially Batman combat,
Right.
but it felt good to pull
They
off.
did Batman before Batman did Batman, right? They
Right,
kind
that's
of
kind of where
started
Batman pulled it
that,
from.
that whole counter craze. We'll
Yeah.
call it.
But then in the fifth game, Unity, they messed around with it to where you had to like break someone's stature or something, and all of a sudden like the combat just stopped feeling good. And then by 6, it felt like absolute trash, where you were just
Right.
like whack 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 kill, whack 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 kill.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so I hate this. And then they started coming out with the RPG ones, and I'm like, well, now you're just making a worse Dark Souls. So great.
Yeah, I feel
Whatever.
like by the third one, I probably started to get a little sick of the combat, right? I mean, Black Flag was cool when you get like 6 pistols.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to
Ah.
pull multiple pistols out of their shirt and just pop, pop, pop? Yeah,
Yeah.
again, the cool factor came back, and that's why that's entertaining. Um,
They should
three,
really look at like in terms of I think equipment's fine, but they should do a more tailored experience like The Witcher 3, right?
mm-hmm, yeah,
Or even like a Dark Souls, right? Where specific sets can be found, and it isn't necessarily like things can drop off of monsters people, but
that's not your main weaponry.
yeah, that's not your main weaponry. And then it is more tailored, right? It's not super frequent.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. But I mean,
I don't know how things, but judging from what you're telling me, yeah, there's just like too much shit dropping. So it devalues everything at that point.
Valhalla did it a little bit better, but then they just dotted the map with a million freaking objectives for unlocking skills and stuff, and it just came into that. Um,
Those artificial playtime
yeah,
enhancers, right?
yeah.
God, I love those.
After I did my 10th riverbank siege, I was like, this started off really cool, like attacking a fort with a bunch of Vikings, and then you realize every single one is exactly the same, and you have to go into the buildings and find the same undercroft where there's a chest, and the church where there's another chest, and like chest, and like you're doing the exact same thing
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
And there's only so many times you can really do that, right? I don't
Well, and
think.
people are, I dealt with that shit back in the Xbox 360 days, but I'm over that now. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. I'll do it a couple times, right?
Yeah.
Give me a game like a beautiful ass game like
Jedi Survivor?
yes, but no, the samurai game that I don't remember the name of at the moment.
Samurai game. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ghost Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima.
I will maybe do it a few more times, but
Best Assassin's Creed game ever made.
yeah, now that is one of the best Assassin's Creed game ever made. And that does have that same gameplay loop, right? Like over and over.
But it feels inspired,
It
not
does, yeah.
milking
The same
for
shit for
the same shit. Exactly.
for the past fucking goddamn 15 years. When
Yeah.
did the first Assassin's Creed come out? And it took them so long just to even
2000.
try to do anything differently. And it just felt like they were copying off other people, right?
Yeah. 2007?
Probably. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because 2 came out in 2008.
Also, I mean, I've far since lost the plot here, but
Speaking of milking,
they
no.
had like something cool and interesting kind of going on, right? Like wacky, but I mean, who cares? We love wacky, right? Here
Oh,
at the Nerding Ground podcast, we love the ridiculous, clearly.
here at the Nerding Ground podcast, we love whacking.
Yeah. We whack everything.
It was essentially Prince of Persia with more edginess.
Yeah. So it was great, right?
I had fun
But
with it.
they just kind of, I don't know, dropped everything. I guess the main guy's dead. They could have really done something with that. I don't know. They threw
Oh
in
yeah,
aliens and
that felt
God.
so unceremonious.
Yeah,
the Desmond situation. I
right.
think they took everybody's. I would play any Assassin's Creed game as long as it's like I would play any Assassin's Creed game from a different time period. I think they took that too seriously because there was a lot of people that were like they could come out with one every year, and it's like, well, they did, and
Yeah,
it didn't go very well, or
no,
it probably went well, but
I
not
would have liked to
creatively.
see a better conclusion with that, right? Like they literally could have
Yeah.
just made like 3 games and ended with some sort of Desmond, modern day shit going on, and then made Backfag, and that's it. Done.
Yeah,
Don't
and then
need
make
anything else.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go not another military shooter.
yeah.
For the love of God.
Literally anything else, people.
All right.
But then, hey,
Well,
then we got people making foam shooters over here. So what's better?
yeah.
And, uh,
That's a question.
you know, and Konami's remaking Metal Gear. All right.
Hopefully Dragon's Dogma 2 is better.
Yeah, I mean, some people really like that one. It's supposed to be good, right? Just really could not get into it.
Yeah, and I think we played it at a time before it became definitive.
Yeah,
Like the version they have out now apparently is a much more complete experience and feel because I did play it and I was like, I really like what's going on here, but there are some there's some just steps here that don't feel fully fledged.
right.
Um, and I think that was around a time that Skyrim was available. If not Skyrim, then definitely Oblivion. I think it was Skyrim. And so you were looking for that next great fantasy
Well, and
RPG.
Dark Souls too.
Yeah.
It was trying to compete with that. So in
Right,
our
right.
minds, it's like, well, this is Dark Souls is way better. But I mean, I guess it's more like class based. Dark Souls, Sky Elder Scrolls esque
L-
experience going on.
Yeah, it felt very ambitious and
It was.
maybe couldn't land all of those ambitions very well. And now it's just a little dated for me to get into, but the
Two should be good, right?
the the visuals and just like the combat visual spectacle looked pretty awesome in this, like especially the magic when that person
Oh
just like
yeah.
calls down a meteor from the sky and the detail in that. I was really into it.
No, it looked awesome,
Yeah,
to be honest.
there's a
They
dragon
they
that ate the
announced
heart.
Alan Wake 2, right? On that thing? Yeah.
Yes, and I think it's going full survival horror if we're
Yeah.
lucky. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looks that way. I never even played Alan Wake 1. I should have, because I loved,
Control.
loved Control so
Control was
much,
very good.
right? Like, I mean, gameplay wise, like it was fun enough, but just the whole experience, the environmental storytelling, I guess. I was just like
Expert at
enthralled.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
so if they do that with this, which it looks like there's a big chance it will, but yeah, that 1950s, 60s conspiracy government Big Brother
weird
thing.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all into that.
Me too. All into it.
Yeah,
All of it.
I did play the original Alan Wake, and it was fun, but it definitely wore out its welcome with the combat because it just wasn't that comfortable of an experience.
Right.
You had to use your flashlight, and then the third person shooting. It was okay, but it definitely could have been shortened. It would have been better. But Remedy is a different studio these days, and I think they have a lot more pedigree
Yeah.
to speak of. Like you said, Control, and what else did they do?
I don't know what else they did, right? Because I was like, well, I didn't even.
Quantum something break.
Oh, did they do that?
Yes. Yeah, I'm into this.
I have to play that too, I guess.
I want to watch a pretentious writer slowly
Oh
lose
boy.
his mind.
Yeah.
Then we had a whole bunch of VR
Sounds
stuff.
like every writer to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Whole bunch of VR stuff.
which I probably not going to play, and so not even going to bother with it. Then the weirdest thing, which I had heard a rumor about this, but seeing it, I was just like, oh, that's how we designed that. Was the handheld
Oh yeah, yeah. The what?
Sony's official handheld, which is actually like a streaming deck and not even
Yeah, of course it is, right? Like, of course it is, because that's what everybody wants.
right
The the device that can,
play video games in the same place that your
yeah,
PlayStation's at.
vicinity of your PlayStation.
That
Gotta have an internet connection, right?
can't
And
install
a good one.
no
Yeah,
local installation. No, the time has
it's
passed
like,
for that, right? Like
yeah, no,
this
it
isn't
never
going to
was.
do well.
It never was. Like, literally, Google had an entire system that failed on this principle, right? Probably cost them millions, billions of dollars. And you're going to tell me you're going to make a fucking portable device, try to compete with the Switch, try to compete with the Steam Deck, which is not, I'm pretty sure it can stream from your
Oh
PC.
yeah.
It
Well, the
just,
Steam you can basically do anything because you've
yeah,
got
you
your
know,
Linux base.
you're fucking, you're out of touch.
My Odin handheld can use PS Play.
Yeah.
So I can already do that. I think maybe this could have a stronger,
I'm sure.
sense of fidelity, but what's it going to be like $600 for this or cuz I
It's
mean you're
probably it's really expensive.
400 like
Yeah.
400 bucks.
Something
Um
that like very few people are ever even going to pay. Yeah.
yeah, could you imagine the person that's like I buy everything Sony, so I'm getting this. So I have my PlayStation 5, my PlayStation VR, and my remote play. $1,500, no big deal.
No
Like
big deal, right?
Jesus
Gotta
Christ.
get your PlayStation earbuds as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget about those.
I also feel like the design is
Bad.
like we could have taken a second on this. Like it's basically a Pro Control. I mean, a PS5 dual. What the f- is this thing called? I don't remember. Dual Sense? No.
Dual Shock was the original, was like the
Yeah,
PlayStation.
it's Dual Sense. Right, right. So this is Dual Sense because it's got the senses. It's basically just that split in half with an 8-inch display, OLED attached to it. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck, Sony. I guess they just, I don't know. And then it's some people just have this idea in their head and they like to beat a dead horse, I guess. It's like
Yeah,
your NFTs aren't going to work and your streaming devices aren't going to work. Like nobody wants to stream games. Most people can't. It's not reliable enough, right? Like my internet,
no.
I don't want my game to completely stop, my single player game to completely stop because my shit internet dropped
Hmm.
packets, you know?
Well, yeah, and like one sec. I used the I did what was it Xbox's um what is their streaming service called? I can't think of words today, and you're no help.
No, and I never have been, never will be.
Whatever. I used Xbox's streaming service when I was on a business trip in a hotel room on my MacBook. I was genuinely impressed. I thought it was cool. But then I did lose some things. I had some input delay. It wasn't a big deal. I wasn't playing anything that was super taxing. It was like Plague Tale or something, so it was fine. But yeah, I'm not going to do that in my own house when I can play a
Right.
perfectly formatted version on my TV. In fact, I don't really even play. It's very rare that I use my Switch this way in my house. I know I am right now, but that's because I was waiting on you. Most of the time, I just have it plugged into my TV because Not like I was waiting for 2
Oh,
minutes.
excuse me.
Here it is. You guys are getting the background. Matt and I are gonna start having our tiffs. Um, but no, like I don't know. Maybe I'm just old, and I just want I want to look at something in the best possible visual setting that I can.
Right.
So yeah, the only way I could see this working is if it was like $200 or it was bundled in with like a PlayStation for an extra like $150 or something. You're like, oh, you can buy a PlayStation bundle with this streaming device. I could see people wanting it then, but there's no way with an OLED screen this is going to be that cheap. The controller alone is like $80.
Yeah, no, it's going to be ridiculously expensive, right? I mean, I'm not saying Sony's hardware hasn't always been kind of worth the money, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
good shit, but
right, but yeah, no. Like generally speaking, these days we're buying something. We're either buying this or we're buying that, right? You're
yeah,
either gonna have a Switch, um, or you know, you're gonna buy this thing for your PlayStation, I guess, right?
mm-hmm.
Or I guess it literally tries to fill some very niche role of like you said. I have my PlayStation, and you know what I really want? I really want to play my PlayStation while I take a poop. Right? Like, let me spend $400 just for that, or so
Yeah,
I can
right.
go downstairs.
I wish I had $400 to spend on something that trivial.
Yeah. But for all that, right? You might as well just put a TV in your bathroom and call it a day.
Yeah.
It's a bit white trash, but
Or use your
um,
Nintendo Switch.
yeah. Or just use your Nintendo Switch or your
I
Steam Deck.
did have a brief moment where I was like, "What if?" But
Are
I
the
never even.
various devices out there that can fill that niche for you?
You can get a backbone controller and stream from your phone. You can do exactly what this thing's already doing.
Yeah.
I did have that brief moment where I was like, "What if this could integrate the way the Wii U did?" Because, well, first I remembered nobody bought the Wii U, so this is a stupid thought anyway. But then I was like, that was my favorite thing about the Wii U is that I had a controller that served as like a secondary screen and had like the menu and inventory and stuff, and like that was cool. I wonder if this would have something like that, but then I realized like, one, you'd have to develop that into the games, which I guess could be patched, but also that controller would probably die in 5 seconds.
Yep.
Because
Probably.
the DualSense controllers already, I mean, a couple hours and I have to swap and play another one, like plug in to charge.
I
So
noticed my Switch dying pretty like every day. Every time I play it, it gets low on power these days.
those launch switch, look, I have a launch switch too, and those batteries are poor.
Yeah. Sorry, ADD brain. Actually, I wanted to bring that up. That it's just like it keeps happening. I'm just like,
Hmm.
well, I mean, obviously, every battery has a shelf life, right? There's only so many times you can
It's gonna
recharge,
get worse over time. Yeah.
but I didn't expect it to be as noticeable. I mean, I guess I've
Yeah.
been playing for hours at a time here, but
But I mean, the launch switch is estimated with Breath of the Wild. It was like 3.5 to 4 hours.
yeah.
And then a year or so later, they came out with that upgraded, that better battery processor. And that was like 7 to 8 hours, I think. So like it jumped up a lot. So the launch switches don't have good batteries. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I almost got an OLED for $100 the other day.
that's pretty sick.
I know. I was like, oh, this is the only time this would be worth it.
Yeah, really.
But yeah.
I would.
Oh, and so I guess the last one here would be Spider-Man 2, which I'm psyched for. Looks good. Spider-Man is a symbiote
Uh,
suit.
yeah, right. Spider-Man,
Ish.
Spider-Man things never played any of the games, right? In the new one, the newer one, even though
Yeah.
it's on computer now. But I'm sure it's quite good. It's supposed to be good. People like it,
Oh
right?
yeah. They've done very well. And I'm a huge fan, and I like superhero games, but this one in particular, I really love.
Yeah, I know it's
Um,
supposed to be like it's supposed to be very good. I'm gonna pick it up one of these days. You know, there's just something. Maybe I'm used to like Spider-Man on the 64-day era or PlayStation, whatever the hell we played that on.
there have been around like 70 to 80 Spider-Man games
There has
since
been. Maybe
the
that's what it is. There's just been so many. I'm just like, I don't know if I feel like playing another Spider-Man game.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking at the open world 3D ones, it's more like a dozen to 15 of them. So that's still a lot, but um, it's Insomniac. It's
Right.
they
All right. You have me sold.
obviously,
You have me sold on Insomnia.
yeah,
They
they
make
do
good
they
games.
do work.
I don't
They
know.
make
Yeah. They just make good games. They're
And I mean, and I'll tell you, my like the story in these is the writing is awesome. Some of the best video game writing I've seen, and the stories are really good. Um, like good for Spider-Man stories, not just video
right.
game Spider-Man stories. Um, so I'm very into it.
I will definitely have to check out the first one and then
Miles Morales.
and presumably the it's like yeah, and Miles Spider-Man is pretty dope.
Yeah,
Uh
that's it. That's the Sony showcase, and I think I think with all of our ramblings, that probably has us at time. But unless you have anything you wanted to chat about, I've basically just been playing Breath of the Wild nonstop since we last met.
I mean I guess I should have been, but no, I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 nonstop. Trying to wrap that game up. Um Game's pretty awesome.
You don't have to play anything you don't feel like playing.
Yeah, I know.
And you were talking about Xenoblade, and I could tell you were like, oh yeah, I really, really want to get back to this. So
Yeah.
that's good for you.
Like, oh yeah, I really, really like these games, right? You know,
Hey.
it's like, the that cracky sort of dopamine's really releasing in my system feeling when I play grindy ass games, which is really, really just going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with, like, I constantly find myself just confused as to why Tears of the Kingdom has such a chokehold on me. Because I'm like, there's
Inky.
so much Breath of the Wild here, but it just works so much better for me. I don't know. I am immersed in that game. Everything like I have I have daily things that I like to do in that game, and then like almost in an Animal Crossing level, and then I just have days where I just want to go find the strongest enemies and like fight shit and stuff. Like yesterday, I probably played for 4 or 5 hours, and I don't think I encountered like I got into a single fight. I was just searching for stuff and finding items and like treasure hunting for gear, like chest piece, like clothing and stuff. And I don't know, it's just it works for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna get back to it pretty soon. I think I just want to beat. I think I'm close to the end for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, so I could be like, look, ma'am, I beat two of these things. If you don't play one of them, I'm gonna break into your house and leave a copy there. And then like make it noticeable that someone broke into your house. You're gonna be freaking out, look around, trying to figure out what was stolen, what's gone, what's missing, what's going on.
Sierra
There's gonna be
goes,
nothing.
there's nothing missing. There's a weird RPG left in the on the couch. It's like, damn it. He's been here.
Yeah, I'll leave all three. Say I won't do it.
Oh God. I still have Xenoblade Chronicles X that I
Uh,
never beat.
One that I'll never be able to play. Um,
Frigging Wii U. Um, I did for like a day go back to Jedi Survivor just because like I have
really.
to. Yeah, and it was around the time where I'm like I've put so much time into Tears of the Kingdom. I actually do need a break. So I took a break with Jedi. I keep wanting to say Fallen Order, and got. I guess I can say spoilers from this point on. Feel free to end the podcast now if
Yeah.
you don't want to hear anything. Warning: 1, 2, 3. I beat Dagon Gera,
Yeah.
and I was like, if this game ends, that's real bad. And then it was like, all right, let's go back to the moon or something. And I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna end or not. I don't know. It would
I mean,
be
you're
very
close,
anticlimactic.
pretty close to it, right?
I was like, damn, that's the guy. I don't know who else is gonna be the big bad unless they pull where his mentor is still alive and she's involved in some way, but we'll see.
No, that would have been cool, but no.
Yeah, that'd have been
Oh,
cool.
I thought the so you beat Dagongera, and then
I'd already killed Mr. Regenerating Squid Man before that.
right, that guy was
Right.
like way cooler. I mean, that was a pretty cool bad guy, I think.
I liked him. I liked him.
Yeah, I mean, Dagongera was like cool too, especially since like the whole let me use this other lightsaber with my force because I don't have an arm thing. Dope.
That was crazy. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just like,
I was
oh
like,
shit.
"Yeah, finally, somebody fucking did it. It's like, did they
Yeah,
not realize that Jews could be sitting there with like an infinite amount of lightsabers, right? However
yeah.
much that their force could really just allow them to maintain. It's not like they can hold, they can't just, pull and push, right?
Yeah, like if it's kind of a mind over matter thing. If you can will it, you can do it.
Yeah. I
But
mean, obviously, right?
they
I
have the
guess,
purists that hate that shit.
yeah, of course. Of course. Actually, I was thinking about it if I can digress really quick because I was watching Return of the Jedi last night, right?
Hmm.
I thought about this last night a lot until very recently with like some things. Basically, anything that any Jedi can do in any sort of media is in the original movies, like the
Yeah,
ability to jump really high. Even it just never occurred to me like the whole fucking lightsaber throw thing. Uh, Darth
Darth
Vader
Vader just does
does it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, huh. They haven't done anything else
no.
until the past couple of years, right? It's
No, and a
nuts.
lot of people, the things they're getting hung up on are like filming limitations. Like they didn't have the VFX and
Yeah.
the coordination to like pull off a lot of the stuff they pull. And yeah, the prequels went a little too far with the twirly whirlies. Um, but yeah, just like, why don't you like cool shit?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they have to go like
Pull a
balls to
star
the
destroyer
wall,
out of the
but
sky.
yeah. But they can always stretch some things. Again, the whole Luke astral projection thing, I think, hey, that's cool, that's fine. Leia surviving in space, maybe not fine. But hey,
Force bubble.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, that I think would have just been a really I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because she was brought back to die, and that's because Carrie Fisher passed away tragically. But maybe we didn't need to have that. I don't know.
Probably not. I mean, I get it that she's supposed to be like a very, very powerful force wielder, I suppose,
And I'm
right?
cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, that's dope. That just could maybe been a better way to show that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So would you say that I'm within 5 hours of beating that game?
Yeah, it wraps up very really rapidly after that. You're like done,
Okay.
I thought the big thing happened right after you killed Dagongera, but I guess not.
Well, you go
I forget
back.
how it like comes to a climax, I suppose.
That's the other problem is the way I've played this game is very disjointed because every time I have something new, I go off and try to find all the treasures, and that's led to a very odd progression of that game to where like I keep forgetting what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think that stuff is paced well at all, and it's kind of
It it
frustrating.
it isn't. right? It isn't. But overall, it's a good game, right?
Oh yeah,
Just like
no, I'm very into it.
it was a fun experience. It's I don't know.
I could see a new game plus being a nice, if you go back to that game and you just have your powers, I could see that being really fun.
Yeah,
Not just having more of a forward momentum instead of this like distracted going left and right constantly. Because I think that kind of soured some of my experience with the game a little bit.
probably
And then when
because it is
Jersey
like
came,
that. There really is just a lot of like moments where like you unlock X and go through and then find out you need, Y
why?
and Z, to
Yeah.
get through to the next part, which is
And it's
super.
not immediately made
No, it's
aware
not.
from like the map.
No, no, because you literally unlock X, then you
Hmm.
go through like down into like some tunnel or something, and then you can't progress any farther, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and then when you get there and it's like a chin strap, you're like, mother.
Yeah.
Like, why did I
Yeah.
just do all this?
It kind of, like the game could have used something besides all the cosmetics. I don't know. We
Yeah,
need to like code to it. That's what we. I like Star Wars, right?
love
I don't
Star
know.
Wars.
Star Wars is just awesome, and we need more good games in Star Wars universe
I
because
mean,
that shit up.
this game did remind me. I'm like, hey, we still need a really good bounty hunter game, like a new age bounty hunter style game. Like,
Yeah, absolutely could do it, right?
come on,
Easily,
we got
easily.
our lightsaber one, got that out of the way. We needed that.
Yeah.
Um, now let's make our
Cal
Mandalorian.
Castus
So much so that I like made him sort of a bounty hunter. Like I was just like, no, he's just gonna be a bounty hunter, and I'm gonna dress him
kind
in
of
bomber
what he is,
jackets.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You would think even with like the Mandalorian and all that being as big as it was, someone has something in the works there, right?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it was clear that this took a lot of inspiration from the new Star Wars media. So, yeah, maybe that'll be a follow up. But Respawn's real good at making a solid campaign. I think this, I don't know, this one might be a little less impactful for me, but it's still very good.
Yeah, it is.
I'll try to beat it by next week so we can have a full spoiler talk.
Well, again, you don't have to do anything you don't want to, but yeah, you're very close to the end. You might as well just push through.
It's just Zelda's kind of that easy to pick up and play because no matter where you're going somewhere where progression is going to happen. Um, yeah, I've only beaten one temple still, and I'm at like 60 hours.
Oh, also, there's like I don't have the clock up right now, but like 30 something hours till Diablo 4 comes out.
Yeah, Brett reminded me of that yesterday, and I was like, shit. That's yeah, I might have to play that one. We'll see.
So prepare for me to hear me just bitch and bitch and bitch, right?
They put
Um,
a fucking battle pass in it.
yeah. I mean, like I understand monetizations as long as like the content updates that type of stuff provides is worth it, right?
Yeah,
We're talking
definitely.
about a full price game. Um,
Mm-mm-mm.
and then I'm gonna assume all this stuff is gonna be very expensive. Just from judging from like let's say even Overwatch 2's battle pass that is like very expensive and it provides like nothing. I'm assuming there's gonna be
Yeah.
not like very few that I actually like. I'm assuming it's gonna be something like that. But I mean, hey, I don't have to pay for it. That's fine. I can play the game just fine without it. Even better.
Also
Uh,
first person, so it really doesn't matter that much.
but people that do want to buy that stuff uh, can kind of help fund further improvements to the game, and that's fine. Just like I'm
Yeah.
fine with paying like a subscription fee to an MMO. Like that's never bothered me. And this is probably a much um this sort of monetization strategy works better for more people because there's a lot of people that are just like, I'm not going to pay a subscription. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
But people will easily be like, I'll pay for a battle pass, but I guess you actually more directly get stuff.
Yeah, it gives you that whole, here's your literal path of progression, and you're going to get an item every so often, and sends
What
off
all
those
it actually
lights and
is,
bells.
it's a subscription with built-in ways to make you continuously play more. But
Yeah,
whatever.
it's
That's all it is. That's like literally why it exists. It's not them
it's
trying
much
to.
more insidious.
It is. It is. It may
I,
be a bit ingenious, but definitely insidious.
yeah, no one ever said capitalism isn't intelligent in its marketing strategies.
Yeah. So some shit like is just insane. Like any of the Lost Ark stuff. It's just like my God.
Oh, yeah, imagine. By the way, I love your shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I was like, oh wait a minute, I'm totally wearing my PlayStation shirt. Nice.
It's a good
It's like one
shirt.
of my yeah, I love it. I got it from like Ross or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I got it for
I
cheap.
love Ross.
Me too. You never know what you'll find.
Not from Friends. He was toxic, but Ross the store is great.
It was very toxic.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I think that about covers everything in video games for now.
Nah. We even got back into Star Wars a little bit. That's always
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, maybe next week I'll finally be able to have a spoiler chat about the ending. But yeah, that's it. That's all the PlayStation Showcase stuff and what we've been playing. So, if you like the show, please give it a share to your friends. Tell anybody that you think would want to listen to us rattle on for an hour every week. We are in full video podcast mode now, so go subscribe to the Nerding Grounds YouTube channel, and you can see our faces. Hi to everyone that can see us right now. That's good. And send your questions into the nerdinggrounds@gmail.com, and we will read them on this here podcast at the end, or maybe at the beginning if we have enough. Thanks, everyone, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your week.
Bye everyone.
Bye. Farts.
Why?